Genius made the beat? Well, welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I'm, of course, your host, the Prince of Positivity, Coach Steve. Joined with me, as always, my co-pilot, the Dime Dropper, Coach Luna. How we doing, Brody?
Bless, man. I'm very excited for this one. As we talked about in pre-show, man, I've been looking forward to having this one for a long time. Very long time.
T-minus about a year since you've been
Yeah.
talking about this particular pod, man.
Yeah, man. His story has given me motivation. Even when I seen it in person, it was just like that much more.
Hits home. Really, truly hits home. I think we're going to cover a lot of heavy hitting topics today. I'm excited to dive way deep into and get a little bit more familiar with the background and the story and the resiliency that comes from this story. So I'm really excited to dive into this. CEO, founder of the Coach Life Podcast and brand about building your brand. Coach Wash, how we doing, bro?
Man, bless. I'm excited for this one. We don't bring anybody on here that's not built different. Everybody that we bring on built different. So I'm excited to get this story. And I know y'all gonna love it. So I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy because these touch my heart more than anything. So I'm ready for it.
These hit home. These hit home. Definitely.
Yes.
On multiple different levels too. Ladies and gentlemen, we've already obviously alluded to this right now. Again, today we have the honor of hosting a truly inspiring individual that literally epitomizes resiliency, determination, and literally the spirit of never giving up. Our guest today literally has had probably one of the biggest college football comebacks of all time. In 2016 in the Alamo Bowl, this individual was able to make a 31-0 comeback at halftime. Insane. And if anybody's listened to this podcast, you all know that me and Coach Wash have been on the losing end of a lot of football games, and them numbers were really big. Really big.
Yeah.
So to come back from a 31-point deficit and go to a triple overtime victory is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Without further ado, former quarterback of TCU, Bram.
What's up, guys?
Mr. Bram Kohlhausen. How are we doing, sir?
I'm good. The comeback kid is here.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it. You ain't never lied, man. They should have put that literally on the back of your jersey right after that win.
Right.
That is insane.
Start comeback.
Sir, come back. Well, before we dive into all of the stuff that we want to talk about, because I want to get into your early football career, how you got into football. Want to get into kind of how you made your transition from University of Houston, and then made your transition to LA Harbor.
Yeah,
and then TCU, right?
TCU, yep.
So we want to get into that for sure. Definitely want to get into that. We want to talk about the game, and we want to talk about the other pieces as well. But before we jump into that, we've got to do a little bit of an icebreaker. So for those who don't know, again, we try to have a quick little 5 rapid fire questions that we throw at you, just so that we can kind of get to know you a little bit better. For people who don't know who you are, which most of us who are listening to this podcast who are hardcore football fans, we know who Bram is. We know who Bram is. So outside of football,
I don't know if I know the real Bram.
Exactly. We need to know the real Bram. There we go. I like that. So personal, little bit on the personal side. What are some hobbies outside of football or interests that you have that people might be surprised that you have?
Hobbies now. Shoot, it's just working out, reading, and playing golf, proving people wrong. I mean, before that, I had so many to basketball, to hiking, to skiing. You can name everything. But this has really thrown a curveball at me, and I'm adjusting still, year and a half in. So hobbies now are the ones I just mentioned. You know.
Hmm. If so, for those who don't know, again, there was a significant accident that we will get into
Yeah.
very lightly, but we'll touch on that because there's some context there, and I want to make sure that we definitely don't miss out on that. But if you have 48 hours, Bram, to spend with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Wow. Um, Shoot, honestly, it could be. I mean, a sports figure, Tom Brady, 100% every time. Just his grit, his underdog mentality, um, just not caring what people think or say to him. Yeah, that's a guy I just want to spend 48 hours with. And he's
That's
kind of a
awesome.
tame guy. I think I can handle that now.
There you go. There you go. What's one of your most memorable non-football related experiences in college?
Ooh, it's a negative. Uh, but going through my dad's death when I was a senior, uh,
Hmm.
before the Alamo Bowl, before that, that's probably the most memorable month, weeks of my life during college.
Definitely understand. And um, if I'm correct, your dad passed away from cancer, correct?
Yeah, he died of melanoma. Uh, he was a he was a city amateur champion multiple times, like unbelievable golfer, champion golfer. He would travel to Ireland, whatnot, for amateur tournaments, uh, and he just spent too much time in the sun. Uh, Got it. He didn't wear wasn't wearing sunscreen a lot of times, so he just it started on his ear and then it started on his forehead. Just melanoma spots get removed, keep going, and then it got into his skull, got into his brain, and once it got into his brain, it was over. It was pretty quick too, so that was a memorable fight that I was, trying to keep out of my head playing football, go to my happy place, which was football, workouts, practice, keep my mind off that stuff.
Definitely understand that. Definitely understand that. So, what's a way that you stay grounded amidst all the highs and lows?
But we haven't touched on it yet, but the injury. Right now, keeping myself grounded is, I read a verse a day. I journal. Uh, I make sure I get good sleep, uh, and just try to stay healthy and work out. I pretty much go to therapy every day when I go work out at Congo.
Awesome. That's the therapy right there. That's like laying on the couch for you. Awesome. What are some personal values or principles that have guided you through your basic daily decisions?
Personal value of principles. Whoa. Fight, fight hard, fight to win, battle. Uh, that's just personally. Love and be kind. Um, Geez, just that one puts me on the spot quick.
That's good
Competence.
principles, though, man.
Yeah.
That's a
Absolutely.
Wow.
Never
phenomenal
give up.
foundation.
I was gonna
Man.
say because it sounds, Bram, like you wearing the armor of God. That's what it sounds like.
Mm.
Oh, that I don't even think I mentioned that, but God can control and save anything. I mean, the guy's real. Has to be. Like there's not every you have a path, you have a plan. You could screw it up, but God's still gonna be there.
Facts. Facts. So love it when we hear more athletes giving honor and praise to God because we could not be doing what we're doing. And having the opportunity to do it is massive.
Right.
Absolutely massive.
Before this injury we haven't got into yet, but uh I would have interviews and whatnot after this Alamo Bowl 31 zero comeback. And I watch him now, and I'm like, why didn't I at least start it or finish it with, I thank God for this opportunity. Thank God for anything. I didn't touch on it one bit. And honestly, at the point where I would be like, man, that guy is too like a Bible beater or whatever. Why is he saying that? But I didn't do it, and now I'm looking back. I'm like, no wonder I'm hurt. No wonder, like I should have been given him praise for this fortunate situation I was put in. Just I'm almost ashamed and embarrassed to watch my old interviews.
Bram, did you say fortunate?
Fortunate.
Did you say fortunate accident or did you say unfortunate?
I mean, honestly, the accident is fortunate because it's made me more spiritual. Like,
Man,
yeah,
that's
it totally changed my perspective of life.
that's the reason why I asked. I wanted to kind of we definitely gonna dive deep into that particular section. How has it changed? How has the accident for okay, before we get into that, would you mind going into some a little bit of detail for those who don't know about the accident and kind of walk us through, how that's changed you spiritually?
Well, I got injured in a helicopter accident at a buddy's ranch. Um, Next thing you know, I woke up in in the hospital bed, getting woken up by, I guess, nurses, or I was starting to. They thought it was about time to start waking me up. It was a medically induced coma for a month and a half, and I woke up, figured out what day it was didn't even know what day it would have been. Uh, I don't remember a lot like leading up to the accident, and then much less like after, during, but I remember a bunch of key points throughout it all. Um, but yeah, I woke up, I fell out of a helicopter, woke up in a hospital and asking the nurse like, where the fuck are my feet? I thought I was in a dream. And then next thing you know, she comes over there and I start freaking out a little bit. And they have a button, just puts me back to sleep. Um, Put me back to sleep. And then next thing you know, I'm waking up again uh, to my best friend and started yelling at him, motherfucking him. You don't want to be in my hospital bed or my hospital room when I'm waking up out of a coma, month and a half, and I don't have 2 feet. Like, that's just not going to be good for anybody that comes in there. That I seriously apologize to anything I said during that. I think I told nurses to f off and screw them, that they're bitches. It's just that's not me, and I apologize for that. But um, yeah, I woke up with no feet. They are amputated. Uh, I crushed them falling out of the helicopter. Thank God I landed on my feet. Thank God. I'm like a cat. I'm like a cat. I
Hmm.
land on my feet because it could have been a lot worse. Neck, I'd be dead. Back, I'd be paralyzed. And I'm so fortunate God was involved. I lost my feet. That's it. That's it. I have my 10 fingers. I'm good. Like, what do you need feet for?
You say he's still moving around, man. So
Yeah.
awesome. Dude, before we get into and before we get a little bit into that, I want to kind of go back into kind of your early life and early influences. Growing up in Houston, what inspired you to start playing football? Was that always the passion, or was there something else that kind of pulled you away?
There's like a truth and then like I gotta just spit it out. But I loved football growing up. I used to dress in pads and go outside and like run into trees and shit. It was probably not good for my mental health, but yeah. So I love football, and then fast forward to high school, there was I was playing baseball, and I showed up late for a game, and I never played the rest of the season. Um, so we were going in the playoffs, and swine flu at the time extended the season a week, and we were not that good. We were expected to lose in the first round, and yeah, I went up to the coach and was like, I want to run, I want to play 7-on-7 state tournament football. I want to play football this weekend. I'm not playing for you. Like that's what I want to do. And he said, if you go decide what you want to do at home and let me know. So I let him know, and I wanted to play football, and he told me I was no longer welcome on the baseball team at Lamar. So I went to football, and I never turned back there. Fell in love with the game. Watched, grew up playing NCAA football. Just was extremely talented. One time was ranked top 1,000 in the nation on records and stuff. I thought that was a pretty big deal, but then I met somebody who was top 100. But I'm proud of my 1,000.
You made the list, Bram. You made the
Yeah,
list, man.
I was there online. Yep,
There you
you can
go.
see it. My screen name. But yeah, I just always loved football. I love the full ride part. They weren't giving you 25% to play baseball. Uh, and I enjoyed being the quarterback and the stud at Lamar. It was it was just right up my alley, I guess.
So playing at Lamar, you're making your transition going into college. What was the initial plan leaving high school going to college? What was the initial plan for you at that point? Where was the mindset at that point?
The mindset was total delusion. It was that I was going to go pro. Everybody thinks they're going pro out of high school.
Hmm.
And yeah, then I faced reality right then and there. You can't walk through your workouts. You can't go out at night and party all the time. Um, you're gonna get passed up when it comes to college. Everybody's good.
Hmm.
Everybody's good. So, but, coming out of high school, I thought I was a stud going to the NFL.
Had the skills for sure.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely had the skills for sure. So first we started at University of Houston, correct?
yeah. Started at University of Houston, and yes, definitely had the skill. I remember GAs, guys that played defense in the league, would come up to me and be like, "Dude, that was an NFL throw at practice. That was an NFL throw." Uh, and after that, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, whatever," and then go buy an 18 pack and just hang out, like chilling. Stupid, stupid. Um, yeah, just from there, I got lost in transition. Kevin Sumlin went to Texas A&M, new different head coach. Next thing you know, I'm third on the depth chart, so I transferred to Los Angeles Harbor College and for junior college, and then from there, got hurt. Was played 2 games and was done for the year. Tore up my labrum in my left shoulder. And then a coach that was at U of H who wanted to play me, but the head coach told him he couldn't play me. Why I transferred, and he was a OC at TCU, and so he told me come walk on at TCU. We have a spot for you, but we don't have a scholarship. So I wanted to play big time football and just decided to go to TCU and join him.
That's some perseverance right there. So you full scholarship, went to JUCO, then walked on.
Oh yeah, that's what. Hey, nobody wants damaged goods at the JUCO level. You play 2 games and tear up your shoulder, your knee, your ankle, anything. Like, why not take the healthy guy? And the same, they're all good. Let's just take the healthy guy. It's just one of those factors that you got to consider. Like, I mean, if I'm a GM or a coach, I'm considering who's the healthy guy. Who's the guy who played the full season? Who's the guy who got hurt, for every other game? So I wasn't comfortable, so I just took. I had all the Division II offers you could think of. Northern Colorado, Northern Arizona. We can go down that list. I just wanted to go play back to Texas, play big conference. I just like the gear, all the gear, you know.
So playing at TCU, what were some of the biggest hurdles and challenges that you had when you first got to TCU?
First got to TCU, I came really focused, wanted to start. Um, the, one of the challenges was the quarterbacks in front of me. They had just recruited Matt Jokel from Texas A&M to TCU after they told me they didn't have a scholarship for me. So that was one challenge. And then there was a guy named Trayvon Boykin who was average, but he was pretty good. So those were two of the challenges right when I got there.
So that puts you at third on the depth chart right there, just based on those two individuals that you just named.
Technically, I was four, and there was no reason to be four except for the other guy was on scholarship. I wasn't,
Hmm.
but I'd be yeah. That when a couple games in the season, Jokel tears his ACL, so there's a battle for number two. So is it going to be three or four? So every week we battled for it. Whoever had the best stats. Um, I won most of the weeks. He won a few, but going into bowl game into the season, I was the second string walk
I
on
know, and
Big 12 program.
huge, huge, absolutely huge, man. Again, I know a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure Coach Luna and Coach Wash can agree with this. We know a lot of people that probably have these same struggles that you had. Like, I'll just go someplace else. I'll just go someplace else. I'll just
Hit the portal.
Yeah, we
exactly.
didn't have that. We didn't have the damn portal. I
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
probably would have left. Actually, I don't know if I would have left TCU because the place is a country club. It's literally a country club. There's no corner untouched. It's ridiculous. So I don't know about TCU, but I would have definitely left at Houston if I was. It would have been a cleaner exit at Houston if there was the portal.
So let's get into the game because I need we got to talk about this game. We have to talk about this game.
Well, first off, my junior year, we beat the hell out of Ole Miss. We got snubbed by the college football playoff. We were the number three team going in the nation or into week 12 or whatever. We were the number three team in the nation. We go blow out Kansas State by 52 points, and then we get dropped to the number six team in the nation. No playoffs. I got
I
to
do
point that
remember
out.
that.
No playoffs. That's bullshit. How do you win by 52 points
Yeah.
and get dropped to six out of the playoffs? And the playoff committee said this that since the Big 12 doesn't have a conference championship game that year, it won't be the determining factor for who makes the playoff.
Hmm.
So you know what the next year they did? Big 12 championship game. Oh, it'd take them 2 years to do it, but yeah, we got hosed. We were the first team in the playoffs era to get hosed. And we blew out Ole Miss, who that year beat Alabama, who won the Natty, I'm pretty sure.
So you got some animosity there
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
going into your senior year. Like,
Oh, the whole team did. The whole team did. We had
so
something to prove. Yeah.
absolutely. So having that sitting on your shoulders, getting snubbed your junior year, having that sitting on your shoulders. What mindset? I could only imagine the mindset in that locker room. What was the mindset in that locker room? But take us through for those who don't know what a locker room like that would be. What is the mindset in that locker room at the time?
That time, everybody was just so focused, and then the leaders really became the leaders. You had some people that you're like, all right, I don't know who's the big guy. The alpha prevailed, and they took over the team. and it wasn't animosity or conflict related. It was just he was elevated more because he had so much more respect because he worked just as hard or harder than anybody else. You know, those that was the people, like 4 or 5 people took over that locker room and led with example, with integrity. Um, it was just it was a different type of locker room I've ever been in. Because honestly, at U of H, we were everybody's just fucking around all the time. I didn't know who the leader was. Is he fake? Is he not? Like, what's up with that?
They actually practiced what they preached. At least that's what you saw that senior year. You saw a different team that came out of that came out of the locker room after that. So let's go to the game.
Uh,
Let's go to the game. Halftime, 31-0. What is the mindset in the locker room at that time? What is everybody saying in the locker room at that time? I could only imagine being in that locker room and sitting there thinking to myself, if I had came from the same upbringing and the same circumstances, and now sitting in the locker room with Bram, I'm going to feel like this is the same things that I've been dealing with in high school, the same things I was dealing with, at other schools. Just prepare myself for a loss at this point. What
yeah.
was different?
What was different with our locker room? First off, what was really demoralizing was going to our locker room. I believe we were the home team, so we had a different locker room past the away team's locker. And Oregon went in first, and they were fucking celebrating. Like you could tell they thought they won the game.
Mhm.
100%. They were just hooping and hollering that they it's over. It's gonna be 62-0. Um, we go to our locker room. Everybody's just the emphasis was defense though, because Gary Patterson had never given up 31 points in one half, probably his entire coaching career. And then next, oh, sorry about that. And then next thing you know, our our linebackers coach is tossing a trash can through like lockers everywhere, almost hits people. Next, I think I'm never gonna play football again. I'm a redshirt senior, walk on, probably not getting a look in the league. Um, yeah, I thought it was over. We go into halftime, would sit down as an offense, and we just go but through each drive. It was typically, first down, drop pass, had to punt. Uh, Personal foul, roughing the kicker, and then next thing you know, we're uh, it's personal foul and just 15-yard penalty after 15-yard penalty. But I came back out and we were all right. It was on the defense. They had to make a stop every possession, and that's what they did. And there was a few leaders that looked at me and said they were going to do that, and man, they were men of their word right there.
You're flying around, man. I think there's a stat that says you guys scored on every possession in the second half of that game.
Yeah, we started with a field goal,
Yep.
tutty, another tutty, and a fumble. I it was fun to get 3 points on the board, and then you just couldn't relax a little bit. Coming out of halftime, it seemed like there was a little weight off your shoulder. Like if I didn't get benched yet, like I probably not going to get benched this game. Um, and then you could play freely. I think freshmen and everybody were playing like themselves, not so tense. If you look across the board at my lineup, it was like my receiver on the two receivers on the left side, both freshmen, true freshmen. On the right, Y and Z had freshman. It was me and the running back were the only seniors.
So yeah,
The
the
offensive
only
line was a different story. That was the best offensive line probably TCU's ever had. I think every single one of them played like 9 years in the league. either on a practice squad or active roster.
So you
That's
had to
individually.
own it.
We're at like over 30 years of NFL talent on that offensive line. Incredible.
That's insane. That's insane. The amount of experience that you have on that line is insane. So you getting in that huddle, what are you thinking when you first got into the huddle? Your first snap. What are we thinking right now? Like, we have the mindset of just kind of, let's not have them put any more points on the board. Like, what was the mindset when you got into the huddle?
Yeah, I think I told him just we got to score every drive. Don't hold because we had a lot of holding penalties in the front in the first half. Yeah, don't hold and let's get on the board. We're gonna go down here and get on the board, and then we'll take it from there. We'll keep going. Yeah, it was comforting in that being behind that O line, but we had the skill guys had to do it.
You know what's crazy about this, and I could just hear it, just even in your tone. You had no doubt. There was zero doubt in your head that y'all weren't gonna come back. You knew y'all were gonna come back. You had the confidence because you had the confidence in your O line, and you said, I have enough out there. And you already knew it in your head before that first snap. We're gonna come back. And like you said, you felt even more at ease with just 3 points. Anybody that knows football, 3 points in a 31-point deficit, you ain't doing much.
It's not dropping a bucket.
Yeah,
Especially
it's a 4 point game or 4 score game.
exactly.
Hmm.
You looked at it from a different perspective. And you that was probably even more captivating to everyone around you because you fully took helm of the position that you're in.
Yeah,
And
I
you
mean a five
freaking
score
said, I
game
gotta
is
get it.
way different than a 4 score game. We just had to get on the board.
So it's something to be said about taking, just chipping away. It's something to be said about chipping away at those type of situations because a lot of people think, yeah, we kicked a field goal. That's not much. But again, you said it yourself. You just had a different mindset. We just need to get on the board. Once we get on the board, we can start getting the snowball going,
Yeah.
and things will start moving in our direction. Where where was it? Because I know there was a point. There had to be a point in time because you had that belief, and I'm pretty sure a couple people on your team, maybe the whole old line and your running back probably had this belief. But where was it the moment? Where was the moment where you saw Bram? All right, I'm starting to see the team is like believing now,
Yeah.
and now we're
Yeah.
moving.
I've been asked this a few times. I haven't been asked in a while. Uh, it was very impactful to know, and it helped the entire game. We scored on a fourth down play, so make it 10-31, and then we kick it off to them, they return it, and then they fumble. They fumbled, so we recover the fumble. We have a little trouble getting down. I'd end up doing a flip trying to jump into the end zone. Uh, we end up scoring, and it's now 17-31 with a lot of time left. Uh, Not a lot, but enough time left. And
Hmm.
that's when I kind of looked up, and after I did the James Harden little stirred up thing, uh, I looked up and I was like, we can win this game. The for the other side, it's not an excuse for them. There's no excuse for blowing 31-0. Their starting quarterback Vernon Adams was out of the game, and
Hmm.
then their starting center was out of the game, and they couldn't get a center to quarterback exchange going. Like they scored a touchdown on a slant to one of the it might have been Braylon Addison, um, and the quarterback, it was a low snap, and the quarterback grabbed the ball with his knee on the ground. I mean, he would have been 38-17 or something.
Hmm.
Different game, different ball game, but that's just what they were dealing with. So that's kind of when I knew 17-31. I had a feeling that we were going to do it. That offense look they had a horrible second half, and they didn't look good at the time either.
Is that the point too, Bram, where you probably start like now the switch is flipped for you, where it's like now I'm having fun,
Yeah,
like
so much fun. Yeah, so much fun. Their halftime, they thought they won, and it seemed like they gave up. They didn't play as hard. They thought they didn't have to jump that extra inch to grab a tackle. There's one play where I dive into the end zone, and the cornerback had a free shot on me, but he olayed me. He just like kind of spun out of the way. I will say the one player I knew that was playing hard was DeForest Buckner, and you wonder why his first round kit pick. The guy is just built different.
mhm.
Um, but the rest of the squad, I think they cashed in their lottery ticket, and it didn't hit actually. You thought it won.
So you see four zeros on the scoreboard right now. That clock is just hit zero. And you guys won this game 47-41. What is the feeling that you have at that
Overtime.
moment? And triple overtime, right?
Yeah.
So what's the feeling that you guys have at that moment where we just came back from a 31 nothing deficit and just won this game by 6 points?
I
A
mean,
touchdown.
the first thing through my head is like, what the heck just happened? I had no clue. Like, what do I do when I win something like this? Like, I'm usually watching Trayvon, do something crazy, and win a game, and the next thing you know, I'm just like the hype guy. Um, but I went to our equipment guy and asked for his phone, and I tried to just call my family to find them. I knew they would be sitting and sticking around for sure. I just wanted to find them. I wanted to bring them on the field. But all of their phones were dead. They had so many text messages and calls from, you know, other people and their phones died. Um, I had to go up on the stage and say, wrong thing. I didn't praise God. Didn't say one lick about him, and that's so shameful and sad for me thinking back now, because that's the guy who he did it. He's the one who had that path for me that put that in existence. Um, and then I found him after the game, got him down on the field, just gave my mom a hug, uh, and that it was just a good embracing feeling. Sucked that my dad wasn't able to be there. He had passed, a month and a half before. But we won, and I guarantee you, he traded in all his favors for me with God, for me to make that comeback.
Still looking out for you. He was
Uh,
there, bro. He was there.
yeah, yeah, 100% he was.
Definitely. Definitely. So how you again, I personally can't put myself in that seat to have that kind of feeling where you just have probably one of the biggest wins of your entire career
100%.
right here. Like this is the biggest win that you've ever had. Like I could only imagine like how you felt after this. Like being in it and and winning is probably like just a rush of emotions. When did you get a chance to like really like it really sunk in like wow, this is what me and the team did.
On my ride back from San Antonio to Houston, um, yeah, I had to get wheelchaired to the car. I was so sore. I haven't played football like that in years. I mean, we're talking since high school. Um, Dude, I could barely walk. I couldn't even pack myself for my vacation the following week. Like it was bad. That's when it set into reality. And then next thing you know, our TCM media relations guy, can you do this interview? Can you this interview at this time and that time? And I was like, whoa, this was actually kind of a big deal. Like, well, I didn't think of it as much. It was kind of like you kind of like blacked out during that second half and just like emotion and adrenaline and craziness. And then right after it clicked. It clicked. Why do I have, 1,000 unread text messages on my phone? Like it was real. It started to become something that a lot of people talked about for a lot of years. And they still do, and especially in the Fort Worth community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gave them a memory that they would never forget, man.
Yeah. I mean, small little TCU beating the University of Oregon. I mean, that's gotta, they say it with their chest in Fort Worth.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. As they should. As they should. It's a monumental win. So as they should. So as you reflect on a game like that, like what are some of the personal lessons that you took away from that game that you still carry with you today?
Well, I mean, absolutely one, never give up. There's no way you can do that. There's always a chance, even if it's 1% chance in that game. I think I had a Oregon had a 99.9% win predictability from ESPN. And the 0.1% happened. That can happen, fellas. And there's one person that makes that happen, and that's God. Um, but yeah, a lot of life lessons were, never give up, persevere, um, come together as a team. You can do a lot of things alone, but you can do even more um, in a squad as a team. Like be a brother, like be a guy, be one of the people that freshmen come and want to hang out with, want to talk to. Because that's what we did. We won that game pretty much all freshmen at receiver at all our skill positions, freshmen. Um, it taught you a lot. Taught you a lot.
I kind of when you think about freshmen, and maybe this is just me because I have a very close tie with a lot of the kids I used to coach back in high school, going into college. I end up seeing a lot of those individuals that go to their college team and they seem to have like this overwhelming team support, like go team go. I'm all in. What do I need to do to be part of the team? What do I need to do to, to help the team grow? Coach is gonna put me in this position. I don't feel comfortable in that position, but if this is gonna help the team, this is what I'm gonna do. You see a lot more of like a freshman mindset where they're willing to fight, it seems, to fight a little bit harder, to push a little bit harder. You don't see that as much from like your sophomores and your juniors as much, and sometimes even your seniors because they're on their way out, right? So especially at, and playing D1, D1 football, which is again very big deal. A lot of them aren't looking to get hurt or looking to do too much, right? Where I want to make sure I have stock to make sure I'm able to get it to, get to the league, right? Do you think it was that player mindset, or was there just something different about that TCU team that just set them all apart from the others?
I think that mindset of the TCU team. We were a little bit different. We were snubbed in the playoffs and then had to ride as the number two team in the nation for like 12 weeks. And we drop a ball at uh, at old Ohio State, and then Trayvon gets injured. I mean Oklahoma State, then Trayvon gets injured. We were just a bunch of. We had a lot of chemistry. Uh,
Hmm.
I heard a guy the other day say that there's a lot. He was talking about our team, and he said that we just had a lot of aura, like energy. We also had these t-shirts made that says synergy. Like it's
Mm,
when you come together and make a decision, and you decide you guys are going to be the the dog of a team we were. But a lot had to do with the freshman mentality too, because a lot of them played. We were recruiting really well at the time. We just beat Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. Like we had some guys, a lot of them, and a lot of them happened to be freshmen, and they had that dog mentality that you were talking about. Um, they're going to give that extra effort.
So, Brown, I want to talk about like how did you carry that same mentality once football was over? Like once the game was over, what was next? Was there any NFL pro trials? What was it? The next career path? And
I
how did you apply? Like, how did you keep that same mindset within that career path?
With the career path, I mean, I did do a couple NFL invite camps, but it was really to see somebody else. They just needed quarterback, you know. I could have played overseas, decided to go to the career path in Dallas, and it was really just wake up, get your endorphins going, go on a jog, go lift, do some push-ups, do something, and just go to work and work and keep your head down and go to work because I mean they really don't care in the business world. You were a football guy, like that's not going to help you with your job. You got to, show that you're more than football. Um, but yeah, just kept me working hard and going to the next day and expecting to keep going and resilience and just keep showing up, keep putting your head down, keep working hard.
That word keeps popping up, resilience.
I was just about to
And
say,
you know, we touched on it a little earlier, and you opened up about the accident. You talked about how looking back, you kind of well, not kind of, you're very apologetic of how you were treating some of the people, but in your rehabilitation process, there had to be a lot of resilience to the news that you had received. Can you kind of talk to us about like the mental gymnastics you were going through with yourself to continue that same amount of resilience in a space where you probably, depending on who you are, you probably didn't think there was going to be much of a chance for resilience.
Yeah.
You know,
To the viewers and listeners, I don't know if the listeners should see, this is my fucking foot. Like you have to have some resilience to get to wake up every morning and understand you have these both of them, no feet. To go to the restroom, we got to put something on. Can't just jump out. Or I crawl to the bathroom. But yeah, the resilience I was taught through football brought, I think, brought a lot of um, conditioned mindset to attack. Like there's a couple options I think with this situation. It's you can go sit in the corner and make people feel sorry for you, or you can just hit the ground running and understand that this is life. It's not a dream anymore. Um, but what are you gonna do with it? Like, are you gonna be that guy sitting in the corner, telling people that no, I don't want to get on a podcast because I still don't feel right. It's been a year and a half. Uh, you'd understand. But I think the only way to attack life is with the resilience and mentality that football instilled in me is you just got to attack it head on. I sometimes I'll wake up in the morning, look at my feet that aren't there, and just be like, "Holy shit!" It's like, what the fuck happened to me? And then life goes on. I mean, this world's not going to stop just because I'm in a coma or I lost my feet. I mean, it's just not. You just have to be resilient, honestly, and show up to work out. I used to work out at that same gym that I was going to with Luna Congo in a wheelchair. I used to walk around on my knees and do whatever I can. They would definitely keep an eye out on me. It was personal one on one. They definitely coddle me a little bit, but then they let the reins go and let me take it from there. And the resilience part, um, I think it's something that uh, I knew I woke up knowing I I don't want to be the miserable guy that nobody wants to hang around with. My life's going to keep going, and we'll figure it out.
That's awesome.
It
You
is,
know,
man.
and I've had the privilege to work out with you, man. And, as we were going through the workout, like it was a very like we're right next to each other doing everything, right? And I remember at one point I started getting tired. And the whole time I was getting tired, I would just look at BK and I'm like, all right, he's still going. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm over here in the middle about to try to catch my breath, drink some water. And I look and my man's was jump roping. And bro, when it took everything in me not to like jump in exuberance. Cause I was like, bro, my man's is jump roping. And I'm over here about to take a break. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, bro. It made me kick in another gear because it was like, all limitations are placed upon self. And once you understand that about you in every aspect of your life, it's like there's nothing that you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you know you got God with you. And I kind of think about what you sent me the other day, Bram. The difference between a cow and a bison. Can you, if you remember that video, do you remember this? Do you
Yeah, I
remember the
remember
video?
exactly what you're talking
Can
about. They
you
face the storm head on.
the difference between a cow and a bison, when a storm is approaching, a bison attacks it head on because it knows it'll get on the other side faster and it'll get through the storm. A cow cowers down and runs away and actually stays in the storm a lot longer. And when you sent me that, bro, it was like, that's the mentality that you got to have in life, period. And there's only two animals you could choose, either a bison or you a cow.
Yeah.
It's crazy because this entire time that we've been talking, from pre-show all the way through, I don't know what we have, 30, 45 minutes right now. Um, the entire time that we've been having this conversation, I'm I am consistently hearing a theme outside of just the resiliency piece, um, and that the fight or flight piece, right? I'm also hearing armor. This is constantly staying on me right now that you have literally not took off the armor. And there's too many times or so many times where people get into situations, they get into their own struggles, their own adversities that they have, and they take off the armor. It's almost like, again, you could have gone to the locker room at halftime, took your shoulder pads and helmet off, and sat it down and said, "We're done." But you guys worried up. You worried it up at that point, right? Like you guys were warriors at that point. You kept the armor on and said, "No, we have to keep fighting." And whether it be that game or any other game that you've played, excuse me, and or you know your accident that you had, it's always a push forward mentality. It's always a continue to push forward. Yes, there are some roadblocks. There are some things that make it a little bit more difficult to do normal tasks that other people take for granted, right? Just being honest. We take it all for granted, right? Uh, you saying what you said, like having to get up to go to the bathroom, like I can't just get up and go to the bathroom. I had to take a second and stop myself and think about that for a second, like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
whoa,
Yeah.
like,
everything takes like 30, at least a minute and a half longer. I mean, and what do you think it happens with your dignity when you're with your girlfriend and you don't have your feet on and you crawl to the bathroom? Like you crawl like a dog. It's just because it's quicker and stuff. It's just, but it's not a good feeling. Like I would love, much rather love jump up on my feet and walk over there like a
hmm
like a beast. But that's just the real life I go through now. Yeah, I walk to the shower sometimes on my knees, crawling. I have to take a shower on a shower chair every day. Uh, if I'm going down the stairs without my feet. Nowadays, I keep them on, but I got to take a chairlift. Takes forever. Like, I'm just trying to move.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Yeah, so all I can say is don't take your pause for granted. Those pause, they do a lot for you, whether you like it or not, they do. And um, not having two of them it's life changing. And I'll probably have to have help with me or live with somebody for the rest of my life, just in case um, the worst happens, you know.
Bram, did you mean pause like PAWS?
Pause. Yeah.
So I think without you even knowing, you're also speaking, God's speaking through you right now because you said don't let your pause, like PAUSE, because that's what happened in our accidents. That's a pause moment for us.
Yep.
Coach Wash, we talked about this before. It's what we call shot collar moments.
Shot caller, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that pause moment, and like you said, has led you to like this spiritual journey. It's extremely relatable for all of us in this pod, man. And it's, I think, in those moments where we become broken, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever the case may be. It's in those moments where he actually is closest to us. And it's just like you said, and it's powerful that you say that, what you said earlier about you felt shameful. That's because now you understand we're all understanding the tenderness and the love that God actually really does have for us, even with the humanity of everything that we were doing while we weren't glorifying him all the time. He still has mercy on us.
Mm-hmm.
And your story, bro, is like, man, it's only being begun.
Right.
Yeah.
With just the major events that you've had within the past 10 years, your story is only beginning. And, like we always talk about, bro, if it's not motivating, I guarantee you it's motivating to me. I guarantee it's motivating to Steve. I guarantee it's motivating to Wash. Wash had a very similar experience in his life. Coach Wash did as a child. So hearing the perspective of both of y'all in different ages, but having that same mentality after the accident of like that, almost like that bitterness of that anger.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unique. Like, I know, Coach Wash, you could dive in so much more better than I can, and I'm hoping that you will, because there's a lot to unpack right there, bro.
Yeah, I definitely have some questions because I know what it's like sitting in the hospital bed, waking up out of nowhere and wondering what's going on. You know, I wasn't in a coma for a month and a half, and I actually did wake up on the scene of my accident, but without knowing the degree to my injuries at that time. It wasn't until I was put under and went through surgery and everything, came back out of it and realized where I was at. But I wanted to dive into like your mindset through the whole journey. I know you mentioned like initially waking up. So tell me about like what thoughts were going through your mind? What was some of the motivation you had as you were coming around and realizing this was going to be life now? Um, were there any influences from your past? You know, who did you tap into? I know me personally, I spent a lot of time with like my grandfather. Probably spent more time with him than my father in my childhood. And I still spend time with my father, but I just spent more with my grandfather. But a lot of those influences started to really stick out, and get me through it. And then also, I grew up in a church. My grandfather was a pastor. So I had the spiritual battles too, that spiritual warfare with why me, before coming to the realization of I'm still alive and being grateful for that. What were some of the things that you tapped into throughout that journey after waking up?
Yeah, waking up. I mean, I don't know what you've been through, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that accident in your past. So I just want you to know my condolences for what happened in your accident. But yeah, for me, it was I mean, it was just the shock of I was on a ton of painkillers and meds to kind of keep me mellow, but waking up and not realizing you don't have your feet, like pretty, that'll really fuck you up. Uh, and then um, just going through the hospital, I was probably the sweetest guy after that to all the nurses because I was just, who doesn't like to hit on a hot nurse? But
Right, right.
it
That
was
kept me going too.
yeah. Um, just my mentality was like, I'm fuck this. I'm gonna get out of this hospital and like, who knows? Like, when's the next time I can go grab a fucking margarita or let's go just do bad things. Like, this life is horrible. Life is like, this is the worst thing that could happen to anybody, but it's not at all. At all. It's not the worst thing that could happen. Yeah, I lost my feet, but I had to figure out a way to persevere and grind and show my mental strength to get through. Because again, like I said, I could be out there like just being a horrible person mentally, sitting in the corner, don't want to leave my bed. That would be no fun as anybody that wants to support me. It would be some hard to support somebody who doesn't even want to support himself and get out of bed and do things, but they would totally understand.
Right.
Uh, but I had, influences, family, a lot of them, girlfriend, uh, you know, coaches, a lot of coaches. I think I heard from every single coach that I ever coached, that ever coached me, that had my number, um, or that was meaningful to me. And then I stuck in contact with them for forever. Um, Another guy that was a great source of inspiration is who's now currently the CEO of Nike. His name's Elliot Hill, but he's a TCU guy, and I helped impact him with his little rivalry with Phil Knight, Oregon TCU. Um, it was fun for them. I think I won him a bottle of whiskey, but he was a guy who kept me kept me going. Sent me inspirational text messages, answered every single one of my texts, um, checked on me. Was just a guy who I'd want to get out of bed for and go to PT, hospital PT. It was basic stuff. Can you raise your legs? Can you get up if you like? Can you get dressed? Like, it was stuff that like there's no other option. Like, I'm not gonna not be able to take a shower. Like, I have to take a shower. I have to put some clothes on. Like, these are things I'm gonna know how to do. But it's that PT, the inspirational people around me,
Yeah.
they kept me interested in just going to these things and dominating them. And if it's simple, dominate them. Um, and then rest in peace, a guy who showed up, I would have to say, every 3 days to the hospital room is DJ Hayden. He uh he was a guy who did so much for me while I was in the hospital, and it was something that he didn't have to do. It wasn't expected. It was just like he'd call my brother and be like, "Yo, can I come up to the hospital today?" "Yeah, come on." And there's a lot of people I grew up with that they didn't do that. And they would be in my best friend group. You have those people, but they didn't really show up. Uh, yeah, it's just hard. It was tough mentally to keep the motivation because it was like this burnt out. Like, the people are focused on other things now. Uh, but I have guys like Coach Luna. I mean, he checked in on me weekly, check in, say what's up. Uh, there's just a lot of it filter. I would say this type of incident filters your friends.
Yeah.
You really find out who are the OGs are.
Yep.
I mean, I used to have people checking on me, 80 people a week. Then it trickled down to 40 and 20. Now weekly, five, five. Those are friends. The other 80, they're not friends. They're just that's it. So
Man, so you had a solid village. That always helped get you through. And I know what the PT is like, man, because then you start to see other people in different situations during PT, aside from whoever your therapist is, pushing you along. And uh, those people have always been great. I've never had a bad physical therapist, but
that,
they are definitely called for that job. Um, Man, so the village and really this is why you got a chip on your shoulder now. But like you've been built for this your whole life. You've been
Yep.
prepared for it. I think I definitely went through a lot of that. Now I was much younger than you, so you know it's a little bit different as far as people checking in. Obviously the parents are gonna be there and then the some family members. But I saw the things trickle too throughout my process and I understood at the time, with as far as adults go, but man, it's a lot of time alone in your own thoughts and trying to figure things out. So just to give you a little background of mine, because I wasn't very specific, but uh, I was in a bad car accident and the van tumbled on the highway. Driver fell asleep. I was thrown from the vehicle and on the highway. I was 11 and woke up on the side of the house on the shoulder. And I was probably, and I always say this off of memory, maybe 50 feet in it, and it could have been further. The van was definitely far away from me and upside down. Luckily, the other people in there survived, but I was only one seriously injured. So I broke all three bones in my left leg. My tibia was sticking out, and it was pretty much leg was hanging on my skin at that point.
uh,
And I was in shock. I didn't feel any pain until we were on the way to the hospital, but bleeding heavily. Woke up. I woke up to my leg in one of the weighted overhead slings. So my
mm,
leg was propped up. I had pins going in and out every which way, all the way down the whole leg. And yeah, I had to deal with a whole lot of initially I kept having like what you call just I would fall asleep and I would relive it for a little bit. So I would always wake up,
PTSD.
yeah, it's a pizza, and then I would just jump and it would hurt my leg. But I went through it. But they didn't know if I was gonna keep the leg. I did end up keeping the leg, but there was a point where they
Lucky
thought,
there.
yeah, I thought they was gonna amputate it.
Wow. Thank God for that.
Yeah. Now, just like you, um, I got to a point where it's like, I'm not gonna let this limit me. So they told me I would have a permanent limp once we kind of got past the point where, I knew I would keep the leg, but things wouldn't be the same, right? And yeah, I just had a chip on my shoulder. At that point, it was like I couldn't take what they were saying, you
Right.
know, and it was like we gotta get to work. And that's why I was like, this story touched my heart because hearing how much you're doing now, and even Luna talking about the workout in the gym, I know that feeling was like everything I did after that point, I felt a greater sense of accomplishment because I have less than the person next to me. And I'm going to do everything you doing better than you. That was my mindset. And
Yeah.
so I felt a type of way. And Luna tell you I'm quiet. I was like that when I was younger too. I didn't boast and brag about it. It was my own little internal, victory. But if I took somebody's spot doing anything, About the sports, if I had the one spot, you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing
I
because
love that.
you don't know, they don't know what it took
To get there.
to
Yep.
get there. They have no idea. Like the amount of PT and then all the lifting weights on my own at 12 and just all the hours grinding with nobody else around.
Right, right. Um, the with the PT stuff, yeah, and how you had that chip on your shoulder, I feel similar to that. Where once I got to the hospital, I'd show up to Congo gym where me and Luna were at working out and doing it into my wheelchair. Like if I can go in the wheelchair to the gym, like everybody can go to the wheelchair. Come on. We can all go. We got just go take care of your body and it's gonna help mental. Your mentals are literally the primary key to what you do when you after you work out. Endorphins, things are crazy. So I knew I had to just get somewhere mentally to a place where I was feeling okay. It doesn't matter if I was on my knees working out. Doesn't matter that I don't have feet. Doesn't matter that we have to adjust a couple things on a workout so it fits with me. But we're gonna show up every day. And Coach Wash, I think you having that chip on your shoulder really got you to where you were just a beast. You were a beast. You had that chip to dominate and take people's spots.
Yeah. I mean, we go through everything for a reason, I'm gonna bring this full circle because I want to talk about the fortunate piece that you mentioned, so
Just
people
about to
really
ask about
understand.
that. Yep. Just
I
about to ask that.
it took me many years to understand God's plan with my accident, and it wasn't no reason because really I'll further paint the picture for you. I woke up on the shoulder of the highway. So I'm dislodged on the highway. I landed on the shoulder and just a couple more feet to my left of where I was laying, there was a huge drop off.
Yeah.
So I I look at it the same way you think, right? We should have been dead, could have been dead. We didn't die for a reason, right? And this is just a testimony that I've helped so many people with over the years. In church and revivals, outside of church. It has helped so many people
On the football field,
on the
on
football
or
field.
off the football field, because and I don't want to cut you off, bro, but a lot of the reason why I would push as hard as I did because I don't have an excuse. Like Lloyd could say right now on the football field, he don't like my leg hurts and I can't run. I ain't never heard that from him
Yeah.
ever. So you don't have an excuse when there's nothing wrong, quote unquote, with you, but this. And I think that's the difference that separates the Coach Wash and the Coach Brams of the world and everybody else that have all of their paws, right? I think that's the difference, man. That's the massive difference.
It it wakes you up, man. It has you waking up saying thank you
Mm.
all the
Right.
time. You
Yeah.
wake up saying thank you.
Every morning, thank you and thank thank God I can
And
get up and thank God I can start walking again. Thanks God I worked hard. Thank God for my support system. Thank God that I have a service dog now. It's the cutest thing in the world. Like thank God. Honestly, thank God that this accident happened to me because this is the most devastating thing that's ever happened in my life, losing my 2 feet. But to become more spiritual, more aligned, more grounded, more grateful.
Man,
I mean, I don't know about trading 2 feet for it, but it's just something you got to find. You got to find as a four pod human. I'm a two-pod human, and I think I'm a better human than I've ever been, previously. Um, so yeah, there you can turn these misfortunes into fortunate situations. And there's two decisions. You can either do that or you can really tank it down in your life, and people would understand. Everybody would understand. He lost his feet, so we understand why he's depressed, drinking every day, you know, smoke. I don't know, just being bad person in life. Like you'd understand why. But
Mhm.
there's two options, and I didn't take that one. That's not no way to live life. And I know you didn't, Coach Wash. It seems like you definitely did not take that route.
No, not at all. And I will wake up every morning. I still do to this day. Um, 30 years down the road, well, not 30, well, we'll just round up. But I definitely, middle of the night, I still wake up and look down at my leg and I think back. But one thing I wanted to point out with what you just said is that people will understand, but they don't understand the light of somebody that went through that.
Hmm.
That they won't understand, and that will make them more curious. That will make them ask more questions, you know. And so that's an opportunity for them to understand, like, this is nothing but God. People hear that and they see you, it's gonna hit a lot more than somebody that's able or walking around looking like everybody else.
Yep.
It means a lot more. It's like, well, man, and they may feel bad for a little bit. They be like, man,
Yeah.
if he's shining like this, I really need to shut up. I need to thank God. I need to thank God.
Yeah.
You- I want to point something out that I think is super important, and I think we kind of said this in so many words in so many ways, but in both of your guys' accidents, yes, something was lost at that time, but I think it would have been a greater loss if you didn't have this the way that it needed to be before you got into it. Because I always look at the situations on the other side where, and me and Wash are like brothers. Like we go back to kindergarten. So hearing his story and then experiencing pieces of it with him, but especially when we got a chance to reconnect back in college, like that could have been me. I could have been in that same situation. Would I have had the same mental fortitude that Coach Wash had to push through it and get to that level? I don't know. And I think that's the reason why God chooses for certain situations to happen. Because he knows that the individual that I'm placing this on has the mental fortitude to push through it. My mom has always said this: God doesn't give you anything that you're not supposed to have.
That you
Good,
can't handle.
that you can't handle, good or bad.
Built for it.
Exactly. You
You
are
were built
100%
for it.
built for it. And a lot of times we ask for these things. We ask for struggle. We ask for strength. Again, Coach Wash said this. I mean, Coach Luna said this in one of our pre-shows one day. Coach Wash had said it. He was praying for the wisdom of Samson. I mean,
Solomon.
Solomon.
I
Solomon,
was,
the wisdom of
he
Solomon.
said,
Sorry,
be careful.
and he
And
said,
I learned.
you may get exactly what you asked for,
Just
but
not
it
how
may
you thought he envisioned it.
Not the way
exactly.
you thought. Yeah.
So, and Bram, I know you already know this, and I know that you have already done this for ample people, whether you know it or not. You did something for those individuals because I know you've done that for me after having this conversation with you today. Is that you're giving a lot of people a different perspective that they need to have because it could be you. Something that you take for granted every single day could be taken away from you immediately.
Right. Yeah, there's people that say, they understand what I'm going through. I know what you're going through. It's tough, all that stuff, and I I play it off nice and all that, but in my head, I'm just like, you don't know what the fuck I'm going through.
Absolutely not.
You
Not in the
don't
least bit.
understand what I'm going through unless you're missing 2 limbs, 2 feet. Even I wouldn't even say that to a person with no arm because I don't know what that's like.
Nope.
I don't understand what you're going through. I don't know what you're going through. But people say that, and it's just like you don't know. You don't understand. Like it's a lot bigger than what you think it is because
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, and that's why things that motivate me is taking Luna to the gym. Like we can go on Monday, let's go. I want to go. That gets me out of bed. It's like know that I'm gonna go hang out with Luna, see somebody I haven't seen in a minute, and I'm gonna go work out with him. And then I have other people. There's a guy Monday morning, 6 a.m. I don't wake up for 6 a.m. workout. I was horrible in college, no showed a lot of them. But I was like, all right, well, it's gonna mean a lot to me if I take him to go do this workout, make him feel a little bit more comfortable, show him the gym. Um, and yeah, that's what gets me out of bed is motivating people to go, to move, to do what I enjoy motivating people. And it's it's something that I've been on since my injury. Let's go to the gym. Let's go. Let's do it. I'll get your first class. Like let's go. If you want to do another one, like you handle that. But I got you on the first one. Let's go. And it brings me closer to Luna. I haven't seen Luna in a minute. And now we went and worked out. Now I'm on his podcast. Like now I feel special. Like he can go to that gym any day, anytime, anything. Like he's always welcome there. Um, and that makes me feel like a good person. It makes me feel like a full person because sometimes it's hard to feel like a full person.
That's dope that you said that, man. Like again, just paying respect and being so humble about the situation and well
And grateful.
and yes, and grateful, which a lot of people miss.
A lot of people don't understand.
And right,
They don't. When you said that,
I know you've gotten it too. People say, I
yeah,
understand what you're going through. I understand you hurt your leg. I know how it feels. No, you don't.
no, no.
Unless you got thrown out on the highway, thrown 50 feet, almost died, then you might understand. But I don't feel like you've had that experience. So you don't understand. You don't know.
That's why I asked you what were some of your past inspirations and like what built you? Because like Steve said, like we were prepared for it at the time without even knowing it. We were prepared for it. I mean, I've had some people be real. My younger brother, he told me at a young age, he was like, without trying not to be disrespectful, like, I'm glad it was you. But
Because
then
you
he
would
said,
because you could handle it.
right.
yeah, he flat out said, I wouldn't have been able I wouldn't have been able to make it.
And let me
I wouldn't have
add to that
recovered.
one. Uh, I've said that to myself a couple times. I've been like, thank God it was me because I don't think a lot of people could handle it with the way I'm handling it. Like,
Yeah.
thank God it wasn't my brother. Thank God it wasn't this person. Thank God it wasn't because I don't know how they would handle it. I really don't. Um,
Why wouldn't he choose you? Think
right.
about it. He chose you to go ahead and perform this miracle in front of millions of people and ingrained your name in millions of people's heads. And he said you couldn't thank him then, but now I got you thanking me after the biggest, like you said, one of the biggest tragedies you ever endured in your whole life. In your whole life, but now you're also the most thankful and the most grateful, most open you have ever been in your heart. And that's what, and
Much
that's
the same
ultimately
way.
what,
The
that's
most
what ultimately what
full.
God says he wants from you is your heart. Doesn't care about how you look physically. He doesn't care about the how if you were a leper. He doesn't care if you're lame in your leg. He doesn't care about any of that. literally the posture of your heart. And man, bro, it's so powerful, bro. So powerful, Bram. Like I said, man, you gave me an extra jolt of inspiration to be like, that soreness, no. Pain, it's just pain. I got no excuse.
Yeah. I was always told it's you're either injured or you're hurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a massive difference between the two. And for those who don't know the difference, Bram, could you explain the difference between being injured and being hurt?
Man, if I rolled my ankle, I'd say I was hurt. Tape it up real tight or hurt. But I lost my damn feet. I'm injured. I'm injured. That's the difference.
Yep.
You know, if you
Some
broke your foot, you broke your ankle, you're injured. But if you rolled it, you're just hurt, dude. Let's go. Let's go. You got this. You know, it's all in between your ears.
told you this was gonna be a powerful one, y'all. Told you this was gonna be a powerful one. If this did not make anybody that's listening to this podcast have some bit of inspiration, have some bit of resiliency, have some get up and go get it, have some let's go run into that storm, has let's go put the armor back on if you took it off and go get back into the fight. Like this is the reason why these things happen. Is to get other people to start seeing the glory of God. Because that's exactly what you just shared with us today. That testimony is going to affect at least one person.
That's all it takes to make a difference. I started a handicap Instagram account because I don't want to just throw it on my main one where it's in your face and all that. Like if you want to follow it, follow it. If you don't, doesn't matter. Um, but if I can impact one person the entire time, it's up. It's a success to me. Just one. That's it.
That's why we have this podcast, Bram.
Right?
Because again, if we have the opportunity to affect one person, and the cool part is that we affect one person every week that we do this pod because it affects one of us on this pod every single time that we have a conversation. So if it ain't us pouring into each other, it's us giving the opportunity to pour into somebody else. And if that ends up changing somebody's life for the better and getting them closer to God and getting them closer to the path they're supposed to be on, man, thank you
Yeah.
for the opportunity, right? Before we let you go, Bram, I have two quick questions for you. Well, actually three, but two quick questions on a combo real quick. Looking back on your entire journey right now, how do you now define the word triumph?
Triumph. Oof. Triumph is just the success in life and in between your ears. I
Mm,
think it's triumphal, if that's even a word.
you made it one today. We're making it. That's in
We're
the
sticking
dictionary
with it.
now. It's in the dictionary now. What would you say? What advice would you give to somebody that is feeling overwhelmed with their current struggle right now? What would you tell that person to get them back into the fight?
I would I would tell him to talk to somebody. You have to talk to somebody. Going to therapy doesn't take away from your manhood, doesn't take away from your masculinity, doesn't take away from anything on the female side. Doesn't mean you're weak, doesn't mean anything, but talk to somebody. I mean, there's you up to here people you have to talk to. There's people that, you know, you can talk to next door neighbor. There's there's people that'll hear you, and I just want people to know that you got to put it into existence and talk about things and talk with your emotions and show empathy and have empathy shown to you. Um, but I think speak about your issues, speak about your problems in a calm, uh, productive way. That's what I would recommend to anybody is just talk to somebody in a very casual manner, and it leads to a lot of success. It's all in between your ears. Um, Everything about it.
Work on the mental, bro. Work on the mental. Love it. I love it. Brand, for any of the listeners out there that want to follow your journey, support your initiatives that you have going right now. I know you said you have a new Instagram page. How can they connect with you online?
It's Instagram page. It's at or no, yeah, it's at Adaptive BK Lounge. So that's that one. Then my main one's at the BK Lounge 6. And then I got my dog, my service dog's got his own. It's at Chipperoo. So
Love it.
We
yeah.
gotta make sure we get Chipperoo shouted out.
No,
Absolutely.
I'll go get him right now.
Nice. Got to put the service dog on, man.
Got
Got
to,
it.
man.
He's off duty right now. He's chilling.
Hey, is this
Whoa.
the first pet of Coach Life? This the
This
first.
is the first
This
pet.
is the
We had a
first
pet
pet.
on Coach Life.
Young Chipperoo, man. He
Yeah.
he gets me out of bed every morning. I gotta take him out. He makes me accountable when I travel. You can't go out all night. You gotta take care of Chipperoo, make sure he's up, make sure you're up. But this is the guy. He travels with me everywhere. He sits with me every day when I'm working. He sat here the whole time during the podcast.
That's awesome.
He went to all my PTs. He went to every doctor's appointment. I mean, he keeps my blood pressure low.
There you go. There you go.
That's awesome.
It's amazing what dogs can do.
Yeah, this
You
guy.
know, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's the man.
We got to get Chipperoo a Coach Life shirt.
Oh, he was.
It's a new
Coach
lane.
Wise,
It's
you
a
got the
new
task. You got a
lane.
task for you.
It's a new lane for
There
me.
you go, man.
He has these patches for his service vest, and
Mhm.
he has service dog on one side, and the other one says protective, stay back. But I thought it was funny to put it on there because he's 6.5 pound service dog. He's not going to do too much. But people actually get scared of it. I'm going to get a Coach's Life little patch for him.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
I'm going to get the patch, and my mom will sew some Velcro on it.
Love it. Love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I might have to have your mom make a couple for me too. I gotta put 2 on my dogs too.
I hope they're 6.5 pounds because we got.
They're not. They're not. They're not in the least. Bram,
She chills like this pretty much all the time. It's the man.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Dude, we thank you so much, you and Chipperoo, for jumping on the pod with us. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your testimony, sharing your journey, giving somebody, especially us on this podcast, at least a little bit more of motivation in that cup to keep pushing through, keep soldiering up, and keep going to battle.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for the story and what this is going to do for someone who has the opportunity to listen to this.
I hope it inspires, just one person. And one thing I can say is use your pause. Use your pause. If there's people out there that actually pull into handicap spots and they think it's going to be a quick run in. They think it's going to be whatever they're doing. I used to be that guy, but it now affects me. So just be conscious of that, and use your pause. Take the stairs if it's one floor. If it's two, if you got it. If you're Luna and built different, take the stairs if it's 3 floors. But just appreciate those feet because when you lose them, you're gonna sit back and really wish they were there because they're not growing back.
Perspective, man. Totally different perspective.
Yeah.
Coach Luna, you got any closing remarks before we get out of here, sir?
Man, Bram said it all, man. That
Yes.
the biggest obstacle in anything that ends up happening to you is what goes on right through here, right between the 2 years, man. Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm motivated. Like I just want to keep going, man. Like you said, use your pause. Like that's all I'm gonna hear in my head tomorrow morning. And you just motivated me to just go run past. I'm gonna go run the furthest I've ever ran. I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna keep going. So you'll be updated whenever I'm done. You'll be updated. But yeah,
That's
man,
what's
it's
up.
it's that ability to just triumph over tragedy. That ability to not let your circumstances consume you, not let what someone's perception of you define you, not letting anyone or letting anything ultimately come between in your standards, your foundation. Your foundation always stood firm from everything that you talked about, from your high school career, dealing with your father's death, going through everything that you went through in TCU, your journey for football. You were built for the resilience. And every single time you were met with that resilience, you stepped up to the plate. And it's just going to be a continuation from here on out. The greatest parts, the TCU and that comeback, we're gonna look back and like, oh yeah, that was an actor. Yeah, I did do that. Because what's to come after from this is what he saw set you up for from the beginning.
That's the biggest
I
part.
really do in my heart of hearts believe that, man. And when I seen you doing that jump rope and we were sitting there eating lunch together afterwards, I just felt it in my heart of hearts. I'm like, oh yeah, you built for this, bro.
First time at jump rope.
That was the first time?
The first time I tried it.
That
You
was
were there.
meant for you.
Wow.
That was meant for you,
Wow.
Luna.
Yep. Yep. That was
That's
to
Wow.
get
even
to that was to
that's
get
even
you to see
crazier.
something different, right? That's
That's even
insane.
crazier. For real.
I got these new blades, and they have a little bounce, and I was like, maybe I can jump rope. I tried it out, went like 15 spins, and then I was like, all right, we'll do it again. Next time, every time I go up to Congo, I try to go as many as I can. I'm up to like 29 right now, and gonna just keep going.
Man.
That's awesome, bro. I'm at a loss for words.
I,
Uh,
yes, very much so. We Luna, this is one of the few times that we've had a guest on, and you didn't have a full on, you didn't drop a
I,
whole $45 worth of change right
Man, he
now.
done been reduced to nickels.
Yeah, yeah, we
that
on nickels now.
the all the dimes and dollars have been dropped already, man.
Man.
I'm just processing, bro, because you know, dealing with the little injury that I had with the ACL back in high school, I'm like, bro, as an adult, like, I hurt my lower back last week, and I was just like, bro, I'm not gonna be out for how long? I already had those thoughts, like, man, I just don't do this, just don't do that, and I'm like, no, figure it out.
Yep.
Hey, you're built
I'm
for this, baby.
I'm stuck on the pause thing as well. For both sides of it, where we say pause, right? And also the pause. Because there are times where we feel stagnant. We feel like stuff isn't moving in the direction that we needed to move in. All the while, there's things on the perimeter that are moving for us, that God is moving for us and preparing for us. It's like He preparing a table for us, right? We just got to get to dinner, right? We just got to get to dinner. We feel like, again, a lot of times where we feel stagnant in a lot of ways. And when you said the word, use your pause, like, those pause moments sometimes, again, whether it be a tragic situation or whether it be in a game, right, that we're playing, those pause situations give us the opportunity to springboard or catapult into a whole nother league. And if you think back, I'm pretty sure all of us can do this. We can think back on those moments where we've got hit with the pause and we didn't capitalize on it. I think I said this to Coach Wash in one of our. I mean, we talk almost every day, if not multiple times a day. There was a conversation that me and him had a couple weeks ago where I had told him I feel like there was an opportunity to coach, and we missed an opportunity to coach. We had an opportunity to do something and catapult ourselves into a different stratosphere. It was going to require more work, and probably because required a lot more work or a lot more discipline that we didn't have at the time, we weren't ready to give. But hearing that today makes me reflect on all those times, and I thank God for the opportunity to that he's gotten me through those times, and I thank God that he's going to continuously put me in those situations so that way I can continue to grow and continue to be the person that he needs me to be to help the people that I need to help. And it's these kind of conversations that we have and these kind of stories, Bram, that just only sharpens the sword, man. Only sharpens the sword to make sure that we able to go into battle and actually be victorious and triumph.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is crew of three great guys that you know just inspired me to get on this podcast. So this is inspiring. I'm clearly staying tuned, and thank you for Luna for getting me on this podcast. And it's great to meet both of y'all. It well, Coach Wash and Coach Steve. So I'm just grateful that I have the chance to speak a little bit. This is very early on in my story. Probably this first podcast, first real interview like this um, that I've done. So this is just the platform, and it'll keep building.
Well, we definitely gonna have you back for sure. Definitely gonna have you back for sure because I want to hear more about where we go from here. I want to hear the next time you on this podcast. We have 50 plus on the jump roping. I want to hear about the push that you make Luna get into because I'm already afraid about this trip that I'm making in Houston because I know Luna's gonna put me through hell. So I'm excited about what's next to come for Bram.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. It's a journey. I have no idea what's ahead, and Luna will be a part of it with me. And when you're in town, you're definitely joining.
I'm ready for it.
Boss,
I'll
you
make
gotta
sure I'm
get in
ready.
too.
Yeah, I gotta make it out as well. So we throttling down on the slug baseball, so be a little bit more free.
There you go. Coach Wash, you got a piece for us before we get out of here?
Man, I actually don't have a piece.
It's one of the few times. Look at that. Bram
I
made
know
everybody speechless on this
Damn,
one.
Bram got
I
us all speechless.
he definitely put the pause on me right now. But actually I'm about to make you a shirt though. I just thought about it. Everybody pause and take a moment to give thanks for your pause.
Man,
Man,
man.
I'm gonna do that.
Pause for
But
pause.
pause for pause. But no, man, I just thank God for trials and tribulations and the shock collar moments that we have. Um, I know that everything has a purpose, and I just hope we continue to open more eyes with you, Bram, and as you start on this journey uh, of focusing on His work, because really you doing His work right now. That you doing His work quite a bit. Uh, that you know we continue to be obedient, be disciplined, and do what we're supposed to do, and give God the glory in all moments in our lives.
Facts.
Absolutely. And I'm glad he woke me up to do what he has for my plan.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, that'll do it. If you like what you heard, smack that like and subscribe button if you want to hear more from your Coach Life fam. Again, extremely powerful pod, extremely honored and privileged to have you on, Bram. Hopefully this is not going to be the last time we have you on. Like I said, we definitely want to have you back a couple more times to hear about, where you're going and what you're doing. And definitely got to talk a little bit more about that workout plan. I'm very interested to see what this workout plan was, because when Luna got out of his workout with you, both me and Wash got a text message in our group chat saying
Yeah.
that he's going to go lay it down.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
if you laid down, Luna, this is a good workout. Oh, pause. Pause for the pause. No, right. Pause for the pause. Again, if you like what you heard, smack that like, subscribe button if you want to hear more. Until the next time, family, stay positive, my friends.